Hi, David Schultz here, founder and CEO of MediaLogic. Today I want to talk to you about the Metaverse and healthcare brands. So as marketers, I'm sure we've all heard a lot of talk about the Metaverse. And by the way, the Metaverse is not a Facebook effort, despite the fact that they changed their name to Meta last year. It's much, much bigger than just that. So the question for healthcare brands is, what does the Metaverse mean for us today? And what will it mean for us in the future? And in the next 10 minutes or less, I'm going to just provide some background on the Metaverse and share some examples of how healthcare companies and others are already putting it to work. So to understand the Metaverse and what it might mean for healthcare organizations, we really need to start with a quick history of the web. So we started with Web 1.0, and that was the very beginning, basic web pages. Users read or downloaded static content from centralized sources, and really we saw the early stages of e-commerce. Next came Web 2.0, which took things to the next level. Content became much more interactive. Users became content creators through social media platforms with the help of high-quality smartphone cameras and recording capabilities. Mobile access became the primary form of access, but data was still centralized, and much of the power is to this day in the hands of a few major players. So Web 3.0 or Web 3 is the next evolution, or perhaps better said, revolution of the internet. To be clear, it is not just one thing. It's actually many, many things, and it's very much still a work in progress, still evolving. So key characteristics include the fact that it is decentralized through the use of blockchain, and we could have a whole separate conversation or many on blockchain, but we don't need to do that right now. Suffice it to say that a decentralized internet connection really is about peer-to-peer network built on a community of users. So there is no single entity that is ever in control. And this has major implications for privacy and security in a good way, which I'll touch on later. Web3 applications are characterized by a constant connection due to broadband, 5G, Wi-Fi, and the Internet of Things. And it's often characterized as being highly immersive and three-dimensional, tapping into both virtual reality and augmented reality technologies. Artificial intelligence, or AI, and machine learning are also key components and are often connected to the idea of the semantic web, because AI is used to understand what a user may mean or intend with the hope of providing more accurate understanding of the searches. And finally, I'm sure everyone is familiar with cryptocurrency and non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, which are essentially digital assets. These are all part of Web3 as well. What we want to get into further today is the Metaverse, which is made possible by Web3 because it's what people use to access the Metaverse, just much like a car would use a road. So what is the Metaverse? Here's a definition that I like: a graphically rich and immersive virtual realm in which users play, shop, socialize, and more. And the words here "and more" are probably key, since the potential for the Metaverse is really unlimited and obviously at this point unknown. For many, the Metaverse conjures up images of VR goggles and gaming, or 3D avatars sort of clumsily marching through virtual worlds. And this often leads to groans and eye rolls and just general cynicism. But that would be selling it short. Much like how Evan was mocked for building an enormous ark and filling it with all kinds of animals in the movie Evan Almighty. As marketing professionals, we just can't afford to be cynical. And I went deep into the Wayback Machine to pull screenshots of a website that we designed for a client 26 years ago, MVP Healthcare. Their CMO at the time presented this at their annual fall sales kickoff meeting. And of course, we were very excited. She was very excited. We heard comments like, "What are we doing? And nobody's ever going to use this, much less for health insurance." And then finally, wouldn't we be better off investing in more newspaper ads? That was probably my favorite. So truth be told, there wasn't a lot of activity at the time, roughly 50 visitors per day in the first year or so, which is a far cry from the thousands of daily visitors they get now. And the most popular section was this Applebee's Treehouse, which included, among other things, an arcade of downloadable video games for kids. But it was a start, and it was a very, very important start. So let's talk about the Metaverse and the opportunities for healthcare brands. First, some facts here. It's projected that by 2026, just over 3 years from now, 25% of the population will spend at least 1 hour a day in the Metaverse, and that 30% of all organizations are going to be in it. So the opportunities, as we see it, fall broadly into two buckets. There's the customer experience, and there's marketing. And I'm going to take you through just a few examples here. So the first one here is Bump Galaxy, which is a virtual community based on the world of Minecraft. In its virtual realm, users can visit spaces for meditation and reflection, or they can meet with mental health professionals from all over the world. Something like this might feel like it's for providers only, but if you think about all of the involvement that health insurance companies have had with telehealth and telemedicine, I think you could see this might fit in very nicely. The next is XR Health, which is a provider of what they call expanded reality therapeutic solutions. So this includes therapy through VR headsets for both physical and cognitive treatments. And the idea here is really to provide users the opportunity to interact with video content versus simply watching it, which is one of the fundamental differences, I think, between Web 2.0 and Web 3.0. Here we've got Healthify, which is a metaverse-based fitness company that enables mobile app users to communicate with coaches, to complete daily sports programs, record daily performance, and make purchases. And very interestingly, these purchases are made using their own Healthify token, which is essentially their own cryptocurrency. So eventually, customer avatars will be able to participate in classes like yoga and CrossFit as well. So on the marketing side of things, here's something to be aware of. Now, we haven't seen any healthcare brands taking advantage of advertising in 3D virtual spaces. MasterCard provides an excellent example of how signage can be used. These are called venue billboards, and they're in a place called Decentraland. And this signage guides people to MasterCard's Pride Plaza. Decentraland is a very popular 3D virtual world. Here are a few other marketing opportunities for healthcare organizations. First, we expect healthcare brands will be able to incorporate influencer marketing in the metaverse into their overall marketing plans. And most likely they could start with celebrities and highly popular influencers from both the gaming and social media worlds. The next is event integration, another interesting opportunity area. The buzz around major sporting and cultural events is already spreading to the metaverse, and healthcare brands might consider hosting conversations and experience around these events just as they do in real life. Of course, there are opportunities for digital engagement, such as immersive member and prospect education. Payers can be certain one way or the other that digital interactions will be part of the relationship with members in the future. So it's not a matter of if, but when. And finally, there's the issue of data, perhaps more of a challenge than an opportunity. We're already headed towards a post-third-party cookie world, which will make some of the targeting that we've been doing in the past impossible. The decentralized nature of the metaverse will give users even more control over their own data. Good for consumers, a little challenging for marketers. It's likely that consumers will be able to monetize their data in exchange for being marketed to. So we need to really shift some of what we do from targeting to participating. So true, authentic interactions before, during, and after a sale. So that's it. It's the metaverse in roughly 10 minutes. I think it would be wise to develop a test and learn approach to the metaverse, and to do so sooner than later. Maybe consider planning a pilot, at least do some learning from existing creators. Think about how you might engage your audience in a meaningful way that adds value. Of course, just as brands learn with Web 1.0 and 2.0, any effort in the metaverse should align with company mission and values and your overall brand promise. I hope this has been helpful. If you want to learn more, we've got a couple of blog posts on the metaverse, and we'd certainly be happy to chat with you. Thank you.